Kawhi Leonard for DeRozan, DeAngelo Russell for trash, and Damian Lillard got traded to the Blazers. You didn't know that, did you? Let's begin. If you're not subscribed, you're crazy. Make sure you hit that big red subscribe button. We're trying to hit 1.7 million today. Also hit that notification bell to join Noti Gang, so every time I upload a fire video, you're not gonna miss it. Honorable mention. The Rockets traded Carmelo Anthony for nothing. Literally nothing. The Bulls gave them this guy, but he played 0 seconds in the NBA. He went to Europe. The Rockets also traded cash considerations. They needed to add cash considerations in order to get nothing. Now, the Rockets desperately need a third scoring option, but Melo is busy carrying the Portland Trailblazers. Houston, you have a problem. Number 9. Jayson Tatum for Markelle Fultz. Fast forward 5 years, this will probably be the worst trade. Jayson Tatum is going to be a superstar. He just scored 41 points in 3 quarters. He's only 21 years old. But how did he get on the Celtics? In the 2017 draft, the Celtics had the first pick, the Lakers had the second pick, and the 76ers number 3. The first 3 picks were obvious. It was going to be Markelle Fultz, Lonzo Ball, and Jayson Tatum. But the 76ers wanted Fultz. They thought he was the next Magic Johnson. So what did they do? They traded the pick that was Jayson Tatum and another first round pick to trade up for Markelle Fultz. In case Kobe Bryant 2.0 wasn't enough, they had to add another first round pick. The Celtics have a future Hall of Famer, and Markelle Fultz was a bust, and to make it worse, he's not on the 76ers anymore. You done messed up, Philadelphia. You done messed up. Number 8. The Thunder trade Russell Westbrook for CP3. I know the Thunder are winning games and it looks good, but it's not. Chris Paul is old and is making $40 million a year. How are we going to rebuild when our point guard is old and is getting paid $40 million a season? The Thunder said Chris Paul, Steven Adams, and Gallinari are all on the trade block. Was it worth trading our MVP in his prime just to get the 7th seed this season, lose in the first round, and then lose all of our best players for some draft picks? Was it worth it? No, it was a terrible trade. But maybe Westbrook was gonna leave in free agency, right? No! He had 3 more years on his contract. The Thunder panicked and made a bad trade. No excuses. Number 7. Kawhi Leonard for DeRozan. At the time, it looked like a fair trade, but now we see how much of a mistake it was. Kawhi Leonard goes to the Raptors, and they win a title. Boom! DeRozan goes to the Spurs, and their franchise falls apart. They're gonna miss the playoffs for the first time in like 20 years. To make things even worse, the Spurs also gave up Danny Green, a 40% three-point scorer. Was Kawhi Leonard not enough? Like, did you have to make the trade even worse? Maybe the Spurs just wanted to be in a Lost and Unbound video. Maybe that's why they did this trade. Number 6. The Kristaps Porzingis trade. Bro, this could be number 1. Like, this is so terrible. The Knicks trade Kristaps Porzingis and Tim Hardaway Jr., their 2 top scorers, for Dennis Smith Jr. and DeAndre Jordan. Are you serious? This trade was bad in 2018, even worse in 2019, and absolutely horrible in 2020. Oh, but Dennis Smith has a lot of potential. He's averaging 5 points a game. His field goal percentage is 32%. He might be the worst point guard in the entire NBA. What about DeAndre Jordan? Mediocre. Adam Silver, you should have vetoed this trade. It's like the Knicks were bad, and then they were thinking, how can we be worse than bad? How can we be terrible? Let's do this trade. Number 5. The Thunder trade Paul George for everything. I mean everything. I I love Paul George. He's one of my favorite players, but this trade is just awful. The Clippers gave Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the future of the Thunder, Danilo Gallinari, who's scoring like 20 points a game, and 5 first-round picks. I'm not being sarcastic this time. They literally gave 5 first-round picks for Paul George. Even without the first-round picks, this trade is a little lopsided, but 5 first-round picks. And Paul George only has to stay for one more season. After that, he can leave the Clippers. They traded their entire franchise for a 1-year rental of Paul George. They better hope they win the title this season, because if they lose and if Paul George leaves, this becomes the worst trade in NBA history. Number 4. The 76ers trade Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's been a part of a few bad trades. First, the Bulls traded him. Then the Timberwolves moved him in the Zach LaVine trade. Zach LaVine, Chris Dunn, and the 7th overall pick for 1 season of Jimmy Butler. But this one was the worst. It was a 4-team trade, but pretty much they gave Jimmy Butler for Josh Richardson. Who? Exactly. Well, don't get me wrong, he's good. I don't want to disrespect Josh Richardson, but he's not Jimmy Butler good. And what happened this season? The 76ers are underperforming, and the Miami Heat are number 2 in the East. Maybe Josh Richardson is a young player. It's more about the potential. Dude, it's only a 4-year difference in age, and it's like a 10 times difference in skill. For the second time this video, you done messed up, Philadelphia. Number 3, the Anthony Davis trade. This is gonna get some of you mad at me, but in 2 years, you'll agree. The Pelicans traded Anthony Davis, and in return, the Lakers gave Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and 3 first-round picks. One of those first-round picks was the number 4 overall in 2019. Now that's bad enough. On top of that, Anthony Davis is on the last year of his contract. But Greg, maybe he's gonna stay in LA for 5 years. Maybe this wasn't a terrible trade. You know what? You're right. Oh wait, no, you're wrong, because he just rejected the Lakers contract. The Lakers offered him a max contract and he rejected it. He is leaving LA. It's not like he's trying to negotiate for more money. That's literally the max they can offer, and he said no. So the Lakers traded their future. They traded Brandon Ingram, who's scoring like 25 points a game. They traded all this talent, all these picks, for a 1-year rental of Anthony Davis. Even if they win the title this season, this trade's not worth it. It pretty much destroys their franchise. And if they don't win the title, this trade is purely embarrassing. And it's not Anthony Davis's fault. He has all the talent in the world. It's the fact that he's leaving. Number 2, the DeAngelo Russell trade. With the number 2 pick, the Lakers drafted DeAngelo Russell, a young star, the future point guard of the NBA. And what does Magic Johnson think? I should probably trade him. They traded the future of the NBA for Brook Lopez and the 27th overall pick. Are you kidding me? Wait, Brook Lopez is pretty good, right? Yeah, he is. But his season with the Lakers was the worst season of his career. After leaving the Lakers, he became good again. What about DeAngelo Russell? 23 points a game, one of the best 3-point scorers in the entire NBA. He was the best player on the Nets last season. He's the best player on the Warriors this season. He would be the best player on almost any team. And the Lakers gave him up for a 1-year rental of Brook Lopez. It doesn't matter how many books you've read, this might be the saddest story of all of them. And number 1, the trade you forgot about. The trade that wasn't a big deal at the time, but changed the NBA forever. The Damian Lillard trade. The Brooklyn Nets had the pick that got Damian Lillard. They were ready to take him. And what did they do? They traded that pick for Gerald Wallace. If you don't remember, Gerald Wallace was an all-star early in his career. But by this time, he was getting old. The Nets could have drafted Damian Lillard in 2012 and turned into a contending franchise. But instead, they traded him. The Nets have become a part of the 2 worst trades in NBA history. This one, and when they gave up their entire future for Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. Forget about Houston. Brooklyn, you have a problem. Last video, I ranked the best big 3 from every NBA team. I'll put that somewhere on the screen for you to click. Go watch that right now. Spoiler alert, you might be mad at who I put at number 1. Just a heads up.